The news broke recently that Warriors veteran center Al Horford is declining his player option and signing a 2-year deal worth $14 million to stay with the team instead. For many fans, this seems just like a simple veteran extension on the surface, but when we actually zoom out and look at the cap situation, their roster construction, and what they're trying to do around Steph Curry's remaining time, this decision starts to reveal a much bigger picture about their entire offseason plan. So without further ado, let's roll the intro. Yo, what's up guys, Jason's here back with another video. It's been a while since I last posted on this channel, but I'm back now and I'm going to start posting a lot more consistently again. If it's your first time watching, I cover the Golden State Warriors and other NBA news and rumors year round. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you do not miss any of my future upload. Now, this past season, Al Horford was averaging 8.3 points, around 5 rebounds, 2.6 assists, and over 1 block per game while shooting over 36% from 3. And Warriors extension clearly shows that they have confidence in Al Horford's ability to maintain this level. The only concerning factor is that he only played 45 games last season and didn't play any back-to-back. And only time will tell how that will turn out. Now, earlier yesterday, Shams first broke the news here. Al Horford is declining his player option and will be signing a 2-year, $14 million deal to stay with the Warriors. His player options is worth around $5.9 million, so this is essentially a 1-year raise with a small long-term commitment from both sides. At first, I assumed this would be structured like most Laker veteran deals, something like a second-year team option or a partially guaranteed final year. So basically a flexible deal that lets both parties walk away easily, but that's not what happened here. From everything we've learned so far, this is essentially a fully guaranteed 2-year contract, which is very interesting for 2 reasons. Number one, Al Horford is now locked in through his age 40 season, so shout out to him. And second, Golden State did not protect themselves with flexibility for that second year. So if anything goes wrong, injury, decline, or even roster shift, they are tied to their money. And that's where this starts to matter more than people think. Because this move does not exist in a vacuum. We have to look at what the Warriors were doing before this contract. Coming to this offseason, Golden State's long-term cap sheet was actually very clean. When we look at the current cap situation for the Warriors, the only heavy hitters are Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, and Draymond Green. And all the 3 guys' contract will expire after this upcoming season. And besides a few younger players, the Golden State Warriors do not have many guaranteed salaries stretching deep into the future. And there was a growing sense that Golden State was keeping their books flexible, possibly to preserve the optionality for a bigger reset in the 2027 offseason. That's the year when things could have looked very different. Once again, Jimmy Butler's contract is set to expire, Draymond Green's contract is set to expire, multiple deals could come off the books, and the Warriors could, in theory, reshape everything around Steph Curry one final time. So the idea for them was they want to keep everything clean, stay competitive right now, and preserve flexibility for one last retool later. But then this Al Horford deal happened, and it just complicates the entire idea. Because when you zoom out, this move doesn't look like a short-term patch. It looks like commitment, and it tells me that the Golden State Warriors believe they have 2 years left to compete for a title. However, that may not include Jimmy Butler and Draymond Green. Once again, if we look at Jimmy and Draymond's contract, which are at $56.8 million and $27.6 million respectively, along with young talent like Moses Moody, Brandon Podziemski, and Keith Santos, Golden State can essentially make offers to any teams to acquire any available stars. We're going to have videos coming out soon with remaining trade targets the Golden State Warriors to explore, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Now, in the draft a few days ago, Golden State took Jackson Lindenberg in the first round and Legit Jones in the second round, 2 very seasoned college prospects. And that tells me Golden State believes these 2 players can begin to contribute right away within these next 2 years window. And let's think about what happened back in early May with the Warriors. They signed Steve Kerr to a 2-year extension. And you can see here everything is aligning perfectly. But here's where the risk begins to show. Both Jimmy Butler and Moses Moody dealt with season-ending injuries this past season, and that simply adds another layer of uncertainty going into this window. Because now it's not just about cap structure or roster construction, it's about availability. Jimmy Butler, without a doubt, is going to be a central piece of the championship push, but at this stage of his career, if he were to stay with the Warriors, durability is always going to be a part of the equation. And at the same time, even younger players like Moses Moody will still bring question marks after missing significant time. So when you combine that with an aging veteran core, a very compressed financial window, and this current apron level roster restriction, you begin to realize how thin the margin of error really is. And this is where the real tension comes in. If Golden State commits fully to this core, Steph Curry, Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Al Horford, and hopefully Porzingis soon, then even if things don't go perfectly over the next 2 years, they are still in a very solid position afterwards, because they will have full control of their draft picks and enough cap space to retool without completely bottoming out. But that only stays true if they're careful, because the moment you begin to attach multiple first-round picks in a win-now trade, you're no longer betting on a 2-year window. You're compressing your entire future into it. And if that gamble doesn't result in a championship or anything close to it, then after 2027, you are not just dealing with an aging roster. You are potentially dealing with fewer draft assets, limited flexibility, and a much harder path to rebuild quickly. So that's the real trade-off. Go all in now and maximize Steph Curry's window, or protect the future and accept a potentially lower ceiling today. Overall, here is how I think the Warriors are going to approach the situation. They are going to start the season by evaluating how this core actually performs. Steph, Jimmy, Draymond, Porzingis hopefully, and now Horford, and see how far this group can realistically go together. And when we zoom out, Al Horford's contract is only around $7 million per year, and that is really not what determines their flexibility. It's more of a low-cost system fit move that doesn't significantly change their financial picture in the grand scheme of things. The real decision point comes down to how competitive this group actually looks once the season gets going. If the core isn't working at the level they expect, then you could absolutely see Golden State exploring the market for their bigger contracts before the trade deadline, especially Draymond Green and Jimmy Butler, to retool around Steph Curry with a different star pairing. On the other hand, if things do click and they feel like they have a legit contender, then that likely leads to more continuity moving forward, including a potential extension for Curry, Jimmy, and Draymond that carries them into the 2028 season. But if neither path fully works out, meaning they're not true contenders and also not a clear rebuild, then that's where things get interesting. Because at that point, essentially every contract and every asset could end up on the table depending on how the front office chooses to operate. So when you look at the Al Horford extension in isolation, it doesn't seem that much. But when you connect all the dots, the cap situation, the roster structure, the contract timing, the injury uncertainty, and the draft capital decisions, it starts to paint a very clear picture. This Golden State Warriors team is not a team preparing for a rebuild in 2027. This is a team that is actively choosing continuity, and they believe their core can still get it done, and betting that there are still 2 more real championship runs left in the Steph Curry era. So now the question becomes, is this the right gamble? Because if it works, this could be one of the most impressive late career roster construction around a superstar NBA history. But if it doesn't, then Golden State may have just wasted Steph Curry's final years and traded away long-term flexibility for a window that didn't fully deliver. And that's why this Al Horford move matters. Not because of the contract itself, but because of what it tells us about what the Warriors believe they still are. And now the question goes to you guys, what do you guys think about this move made by the Warriors? And do you guys think more trades are coming later on? Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Alright guys, that's all we got for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe, and follow me on social media linked down below in the description. Once again, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.